The New York Giants finished another shitty season at 3-14. John Mara is fucking pissed. He basically said Daboll and Schoen need to turn things around or they're out. What do you think he's really thinking?
He's not fucking around. They've had 2 winning seasons in the last decade. 2016 ended with a wild card loss to the Packers. 2022 ended with a wild card win against the Vikings. Other than that, it's been a decade of shit football.
Do you think letting Saquon Barkley walk was one of the worst decisions in that decade of shit?
Letting Barkley walk was a fucking disaster. He's balling out in Philly. He had a career year there.
He went to a division rival and is thriving. How the fuck did they let that happen? Was this about money, or did they not see his potential?
Who knows what those morons were thinking? Maybe they thought they could replace him. They were fucking wrong.
Then they released Daniel Jones mid-season. Did they just give up?
Releasing Jones mid-season was a panic move. They didn't have a plan B. It sent a terrible message to the team. Like they said, we're giving up.
Now they need a quarterback. They need offensive line depth, and they have Mara breathing down their necks. Does the no 3 pick add even more pressure to this situation?
The no 3 pick is a double-edged sword. They could draft a franchise-changing player, but they could also fuck it up.
Daboll's record with the Giants is 18-32-1 over 3 seasons. Is Mara really going to fire him after another losing season?
Mara might not have a choice. He's tired of losing. The fans are tired of losing. The Giants are a proud franchise. They're not used to being a laughingstock.
How the fuck does Daboll fix this mess? He inherited a dumpster fire from Gettleman. When do you stop blaming the previous regime and start owning your own shit?
He needs to figure out the quarterback situation. Is there anyone in this draft worth the number 3 pick?
I don't know about that. Reaching for a quarterback in the first round could set them back even further. What about a veteran like Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Carr and Garoppolo are decent, but they're not going to fix all their problems. They need more than a decent quarterback to compete in the NFC East.
Should they tank for Caleb Williams next year?
Tanking is risky, and Mara might not have the patience for a rebuild. He wants to win now.
What should their next move be if they find a quarterback?
They need to rebuild the offensive line. They need to protect whoever's under center. The offensive line was atrocious last year.
It was like musical chairs on the offensive line. Never the same group 2 weeks in a row.
They need at least 2 new starters on the offensive line, maybe 3.
And they need playmakers on offense. Besides Saquon Barkley, nobody's scared defenses. Can you build a competent offense without a true number 1 receiver?
Nope, they need a true number 1 receiver. They also need a tight end who can make plays.
That's a lot for one offseason. A quarterback, offensive lineman, wide receivers, and a tight end. And we haven't even talked about the defense. How bad was the defense last year?
Pretty fucking bad. They couldn't pressure opposing quarterbacks. The pass rush was non-existent.
And the secondary got torched every week. It's amazing they won 3 games with a defense that bad.
Schoen has a lot of holes to fill. He's going to have a busy offseason. And he doesn't have a lot of draft capital to work with.
This brings us back to Mara's ultimatum. Do you think he's serious about firing Daboll and Schoen if they don't make the playoffs next year?
Dead serious. He wants results. At some point, you have to stop making excuses and start winning games. It's not going to be easy to turn this team around overnight, especially in a division as tough as the NFC East.
The Eagles are a powerhouse. The Cowboys are always competitive. Even the Commanders are on the rise. It looks like an uphill battle for the Giants. What do they need to do to close the gap?
They need a franchise quarterback. That's easier said than done. They also need to improve the offensive line and the pass rush, and they need some luck. They need to hit on their draft picks and stay healthy.
About Saquon Barkley, what do you make of their decision to let him walk? It seems like a huge blunder.
It was a blunder. Barkley is one of the most talented running backs in the league. When healthy, he's a difference maker.
He's had injury problems, but when he's on the field, he's a game changer. It's a shame he's doing all of that for a division rival.
It is. It's like they gave the Eagles a weapon to use against them. Hard to believe they didn't try harder to re-sign him.
Maybe they didn't think he was worth the money.
Maybe, but they're paying the price now.
They've made some questionable decisions. What about releasing Daniel Jones mid-season? Another panic move.
Absolutely. Releasing him mid-season didn't help their record. It sent a terrible message to the team. It said, we've given up on the season.
What should they have done?
They should have let Jones finish the season. Now they need a quarterback, and they're picking 3rd in the draft.
They dug themselves a hole. Should they trade up to get their guy?
The top 2 quarterbacks will probably be gone before their pick. They could trade up, but it would cost them a lot of draft capital.
They don't have a lot of picks this year. What if they don't trade up?
They could reach for a quarterback later in the 1st round or wait until the 2nd or 3rd round. They could also sign a veteran.
A lot of options to consider. This is a big draft for the Giants. They need to make the right choices. What are your thoughts?
They need to get this right. This draft could make or break their future.
Where do the Giants even stand in the NFC East right now? The rest of the division seems to be passing them by.
They're behind the curve. The The Eagles are the best team in the division. Great quarterback, solid offensive line, talented defense.
The Eagles look like a complete team. What about the Cowboys? They're always in the mix.
The Cowboys are always dangerous. Lots of firepower on offense, but their defense is a question mark.
What about the Commanders? They seem to be improving. They came on strong at the end of last season.
The Commanders are on the rise. They have a young quarterback in Sam Howell who could be good. Their defense is pretty solid, too.
Every team in the NFC East has a franchise quarterback except the Giants. It's tough to compete without one.
They need to find a franchise quarterback. That's the most important thing. They also need to improve the offensive line and their pass rush.
They need to stay healthy, too. They always seem to be dealing with injuries.
Staying healthy is key in the NFL.
Do you think the Giants can close the gap in the NFC East next season? Can they make a run at the playoffs?
They'll be better than this year, but I don't think they'll make the playoffs. They're at least a year away.
So another losing season.
Probably, but they'll show some progress. This is a young team with a new coaching staff. It takes time.
Mara's patience is wearing thin. Is it fair to give Daboll and Schoen another year?
Mara is impatient. It'll be interesting to see how much leeway he gives them if they struggle early.
The Giants are at a crossroads. They need to show improvement next season. They need to get Mara off their backs and prove to the fans they're heading in the right direction.
This is a pivotal year for the Giants. They need to show they're building a winning culture. If they don't, it could be another lost season in New York.
We'll have to wait and see how this offseason plays out. Thanks for joining me.
No problem. It was great talking Giants football with you.